In the year 2140, a piece of software will execute a command that stops producing new Bitcoin forever. Unlike paper currencies that central banks can print at will, this network has absolute scarcity written directly into its code. There will only ever be 21 million coins in the universe. You cannot print more, and you cannot negotiate it. What's shocking is how fast we are approaching that ceiling. As of today, 95% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist has already been mined and is circulating in the market. That leaves a rapidly shrinking pool of just 5% left to distribute over the next century. The economic rules keeping this entire system alive are shifting right in front of us, far sooner than that final deadline suggests. To understand the stakes, you have to look at the people securing this trillion-dollar asset. These massive data centers are run by miners, essentially digital security guards running heavy hardware 24/7 to validate every transaction. Running these facilities requires a staggering amount of electricity. The operators only pay those power bills because the network automatically pays them a guaranteed base salary of newly minted Bitcoin, known as a block reward, about every 10 minutes. This chart shows how that base salary is programmed to slowly disappear. Every 4 years, a built-in event called the halving slashes that reward in half, dropping from 50 coins to 25 to 12.5, down to today's 3.125. If we map this mathematical trend forward, the base salary drops down to exactly zero in the year 2140. Without that guaranteed income, miners face an obvious math problem. If they unplug their machines to avoid bankruptcy, the network loses its security, leaving the entire ecosystem exposed to total collapse. When that base salary vanishes, miners will have to survive entirely on tips. Every time someone sends a payment, they attach a small transaction fee, and those fees will become the miner's only source of revenue. This graphic illustrates the core economic dilemma. On one side, if transaction fees climb too high, everyday users will get priced out and abandon the system. On the other side, if fees drop too low to cover operational costs, the miners will quit. Developers are managing this by moving everyday volume off the main network using Layer 2 solutions. These secondary networks bundle millions of small transactions together, keeping the main chain from clogging and preventing fees from exploding. We also saw how users will voluntarily pay more when they get new utility. When a protocol called ordinals allowed users to essentially create native Bitcoin NFTs, people aggressively bid up transaction fees just to secure block space. That demand proved an important concept. People are willing to pay premium fees to access the network if it offers them a valuable service, providing the precise revenue stream miners need to stay afloat. The miners aren't waiting for the final coin to test these margins. They are actively restructuring their physical operations today to survive on tighter budgets. Since electricity is their biggest expense, they scavenge for the cheapest, most isolated power on Earth. They deploy modular rigs to consume excess natural gas that would otherwise be flared off, and they plug into remote hydroelectric dams that generate electricity nobody else can use. In places like Texas, miners are taking this a step further by integrating directly with the industrial power grid. Through demand response programs, the state grid actually pays these operators to turn their machines off during extreme weather when public electricity demand peaks. By balancing local grids for revenue, these operations function as flexible power utilities to ensure their long-term survival. Then there is the ultimate safety net, the mega holders. Today, major corporations and sovereign nation-states hold billions of dollars in Bitcoin on their balance sheets. If independent miners start quitting because the profit margins get too tight, ask yourself, would these financial giants just sit back and watch their massive treasuries evaporate? The rash financial loss, they will do it simply to secure the broader network and protect their assets. The immense value of the network has created an inescapable game theory trap. Massive players are now forced to fund the system's security out of pure self-preservation. The network's anonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, knew from the beginning that this system only had two possible outcomes. It would either achieve massive global adoption or it would die out completely. This pie chart shows how that adoption battle actually played out. Despite the early narrative that crypto was for black markets, less than 0.5% of current network volume is tied to illicit activity. leaving over 99% for legitimate, legal transactions. Satoshi designed the block reward as a temporary bootstrap mechanism to subsidize the network's growth until user volume could support the security costs alone. By the time that subsidy finally vanishes, the burden of security shifts from an automated code snippet to a massive collective effort. Every person transacting on the network will mutually pitch in a small fee to keep the digital guards at their posts. Minting that final fraction of a coin in 2140 won't be an apocalypse. It is the exact moment the network stops relying on its creator's subsidy and achieves complete, self-sustaining financial independence.